guys, and welcome back to another video with your host, as always, K-Mac Time. Now today, I had to come up with a list of the top 10 Zelda dungeons, and that is a tough task. There have been so many great games with amazing dungeon levels over the years, it seems almost impossible. Though for this list, I want to make it very clear that I'll be using my own personal favorites, and you may notice that some of the most popular dungeons from older generations from the NES, Super Nintendo era are in fact missing. This is because I started my own personal Zelda experience in the late 1990s when I was a kid playing Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Now, not until recently have I gotten back into retro games and had the chance to go back and play some of these older Zelda games. Unfortunately, I have not had time to finish all of them. They are quite long most times, so I'll be slightly biased towards the dungeons I grew up crawling through as a kid. But with that said, let's go ahead and jump right in with number 10. Starting up our list at number 10, we have City in the Sky from Twilight Princess. This dungeon is absolutely beautiful, and its design was very visually stunning the very first time I ever played it. I mean, it's floating in the sky. What else could you ask for? It also features some very interesting wind puzzles, and the final battle with Agarok is one of the most memorable fights of the entire game, making this a solid choice to kick off our list. Ocarina of Time is full of memorable moments, but who could forget the epic ending dungeon, Ganon's Castle? You were climbing stairwells and fighting your way to the top, only to find Ganondorf waiting for you rather calmly as he played away on his organ. Then came the mad dash to escape the palace before it collapses, only to meet Ganondorf's true form, Ganon, as a final challenge. This was truly a dungeon for the ages. My favorite dungeon from Majora's Mask has to be Icanna Castle. The entire premises around this castle is the kingdom of Icanna, which is extremely interesting. While little is known, it was once a mighty kingdom that eventually fell. Very cool lore behind this. Almost every puzzle in the castle involves manipulating light from the outside world to brighten up a dark interior, including the final boss fight. Heavy use of the mirror shield is required, and the entire palace is crawling with the undead. I think it goes beyond its puzzles and interesting lore. It is a true sense of atmosphere that put this dungeon squarely on this list. Coming in at number 7 on our list is the Shadow Temple from Ocarina of Time. Now, while this dungeon is designed straightforward without any alternate paths, it is extremely easy to fail at one of the many temple puzzles and get trapped in by the design. But while it's not required, the Lens of Truth can help greatly by revealing hidden paths that seemingly don't exist to the naked eye. It also can reveal extra treasures and even help in the final battle against the dungeon's final enemy, Bongo Bongo. Skyward Sword is a visually stunning game, and the ancient cistern dungeon is no exception. The whole layout and design was top-notch in my opinion. The atmosphere of godlike beings combined with a game mechanic of manipulating the water levels made for a truly memorable dungeon, honorable to its spot on our list. Speaking of water levels, the Water Temple from Ocarina of Time is often considered to be one of the hardest in the entire series. This is where we first see the idea of manipulating water levels. It is also the return of Dark Link, which is a very cool surprise. Though this temple is incredibly frustrating due to having to constantly equip the iron boots, it still holds up after all this time. The remake of Ocarina of Time on the 3DS, however, did fix this problem, making this dungeon even better. One of the most unique Zelda games has to be Spirit Tracks on the DS. It introduced countless new gameplay mechanics, including being able to control a phantom. The Tower of Spirits is my favorite dungeon from that game. It contains many classic puzzle designs such as block pushing and puzzles, but it also comes with fresh concepts due to the fact that you can now control a phantom. This dungeon is far from traditional, but that's what makes it so great. It is definitely deserving of its spot on this list. My all-time favorite handheld Zelda game has to be the Minish Cap. I just love the art style and overall feel of this game. And the Palace of the Winds is a perfect example of how to make a fun dungeon. It is well balanced and yet still very challenging. The puzzles and all that kind of stuff in this one is absolutely perfect. And it's one of the most memorable boss fights of any Zelda game as well. This dungeon definitely deserves its spot at number 3 on the list. Now in our runner-up spot is Skykeep from Skyward Sword. This dungeon is the pinnacle of puzzle design. The entire dungeon itself is a puzzle you must dissect on a grid, moving and changing rooms around to make pieces fit together just right. Then you have to go into those rooms and solve more puzzles to open up a pathway to get to the next room, which may or may not be a dead end since you're still working on the overall puzzle of getting the rooms placed in just the right pattern to proceed. It's a fun trial and error experience with multiple ways to progress, making each visit to the temple unique. It also marks the very first time Link has ever truly completed the entire Triforce, a feat that Zelda fans waited decades for. And finally, my number one Zelda dungeon of all time is Snow Peak Ruins from Twilight Princess. This dungeon tells the story of a certain someone with an ailment that her husband is trying to cure, an ailment that only can be fixed when Link beats the evil out of her. This is complemented by the tricky ice-based puzzles, brilliant use of the ball and chain, and epic task of defeating many of the enemies within. When it comes to the best combination of atmosphere, puzzles, dungeon crawling, and combat, Snow Peak Ruins takes home the crown. Well, alright guys, that wrapped up my personal Zelda favorite dungeons, but I'd love to hear yours, so make sure you guys drop a comment with your favorites. Also, make sure you guys smash that like button, and if you want to see more Zelda content, then please go check out the AllTimeNumbers videos. They have a great video on Zelda up on their channel right now. Link will be in the description and in the end site. These guys make some of the very best videos on the entire internet. You will not be disappointed. So like I said, please go check them out. Subscribe to them. Very, very cool guys. Their video on Zelda is going to be amazing. Until next time, guys, remember this KMAC time somewhere, and I'll speak with you again soon. Until then, take it easy and peace out.